rides really well, rides incredibly short. Rode a winner up at Haydock last weekend on Royal Millennium for the same stable, same staying type of hurdle. He's a decent horse, this, and Christophe, well, he's been champion in France 17 years on the trot, so he's been round the block a few times, and he's got his own way of riding, but horses run and jump for him.
Huge day here at Newbury. The top staying hurdlers kicking it off for us on the live action front. The Hennessy Gold Cup up and coming. Denman trying to defy a massive rating and a big weight. Marvellous afternoon in prospect. Simon Holt will be doing the calling.
Just out of shot, Blazing Bailey is somewhere ahead of the other runners, and the starter lets them go with Blazing Bailey handed a good lead, going towards the first flight of 12 here. Blazing Bailey already 12 or 15 lengths clear of Oscar Park, and then Chief Dan George, Inglis Drever in 4th place as they head towards the furthest point away from the grandstand here. Special Envoy towards the rear with Crystal Dane and Kasbah Bliss as they now head towards the left-hand turn, which will take them out of the back straight. So Blazing Bailey and Sam Thomas, who had a fall earlier on this afternoon, but was quickly to his feet. Of course, this is his last ride before the big mission aboard Denman in the Hennessy. Blazing Bailey and Sam Thomas clear there in second. It's Oscar Park from Chief Dan George as they run slightly downhill. Inglis Drever is 4th, followed by Special Envoy, Crystal Dane and Kasbah Bliss at the rear of the field, in the hands of the 15 times French champion jump jockey Christophe Pure. And most interesting to see how short he rides. He rides a flat jockey's length. Inglis Drever, the 15-8 favourite. Special Envoy, the grey, at 3-1. As they swing into the straight for the first time in this totesport.com long distance hurdle. It's race 13 in the order of merit. And Blazing Bailey, a good 10 or 12 lengths. Oscar Park over in second, winner of the Pretemps final at the Cheltenham Festival last March. Chief Dan George, the big white face, winner of 5 of his last 6 starts, a much improved staying hurdler. Chief Dan George in 3rd place as they head towards the next flight, the middle one of the 3 up the home straight. And Blazing Bailey jumps it well. This home straight really has been finding them out this afternoon in some of the earlier races, and it has to be said that perhaps they went too quickly in a couple of the races. Blazing Bailey doesn't appear to be doing over much in front. He was handed this lead from the outset. Jumps well again. It was a little bit disappointing on his reappearance at Cheltenham recently, where he was set to give a lot of weight away in a handicap. Run his best race there, but these conditions do tend to bring out the best of him. He likes plenty of give underfoot. Blazing Bailey clear of Oscar Park in second, passing the stands. Chief Dan George is 3rd from Inglis Drever, looking for his 3-timer in this race, followed then by Crystal Dane. Kasbah Bliss and Special Envoy is now held up in last place by Paddy Merrigan. Paddy had that earlier winner, Helen's Vision, made all the running in the first race. Tremendous display of front running on that mare. Heading towards the back straight then, and there are 4 hurdles in the back to be crossed, and the order pretty much the same here, with Blazing Bailey continuing to set the target, about 7 maybe ahead, maybe a bit less in fact. Oscar Park closing a bit in second, then Chief Dan George, Inglis Drever, Crystal Dane, Kasbah Bliss second last at the moment, and still last is Special Envoy, who would surely have won at Haydock last weekend, but for that fall at the final flight. He was absolutely cantering at the time. Special Envoy, who is in last place at the moment. Jumping the next, Blazing Bailey, just wrapped through the top of the flight there. Oscar Park, about 4 lengths down now in second. Then Chief Dan George, Inglis Drever, followed by Crystal Dane, Kasbah Bliss and Special Envoy. Heading towards the next. This is flight number 8 of the 12. Haven't been too many changes so far. Leader was just a little bit guessy there, Blazing Bailey. Oscar Park over in second place. The others all beginning to close up. They're packing together as now they approach the last flight in the back straight. Blazing Bailey again takes it in front with about a 2.5 length lead over Oscar Park. Chief Dan George, still no move from Dennis O'Regan on Inglis Drever up the inside. Sometimes hits a bit of a flat spot, Inglis Drever. Remember last year in the World Hurdle, he looked to be struggling, and maybe Dennis is a little bit lower in the saddle, but he can really stay on well, Inglis Drever, even if he comes under pressure quite early in the race. Beginning to run down the hill now towards the home turn, and Blazing Bailey by 2.5 to 3 lengths to Oscar Park. Then Chief Dan George up the inside, Inglis Drever away to the outside in the yellow with the pale blue cap. Kasbah Bliss making some headway, followed by Special Envoy locked away. The first one beaten here is Crystal Dane, returning from his long absence, but Blazing Bailey is pressing on again as they swing up the straight now with 3 flights of hurdles to jump. There's still a half mile or so to cover. Blazing Bailey from Oscar Park, Inglis Drever over on the far side making ground. The leader made a right hash there of the third loss. He's trying to kick it out of the ground, Blazing Bailey, and it stopped him. Oscar Park coming to the near side. Inglis Drever. Oscar Park now sweeps to the front. Blazing Bailey is forced to dig in pretty deep, followed by Inglis Drever. Look at Special Envoy in 4th place. He's cantering, and Kasbah Bliss away to the left. Chief Dan George is beat as they jump the second last. Oscar Park is down there when just about leading. Oscar Park takes a bad fall, and now Inglis Drever is left in front again with Special Envoy in 2nd place, and they've kicked away from Kasbah Bliss and Blazing Bailey, and racing towards the final flight. Inglis Drever looking for his 3rd win. A great jump over the last, and Special Envoy is now really struggling to pick up, and they enter the final furlong, and this wonderful staying hurdle. Inglis Drever is now galloping clear in the hands of Dennis O'Regan, looking to win his 3rd long-distance hurdle here at Newbury. He's already won 2 world hurdles. Who would bet against a 3rd in March? Inglis Drever wins again. In 2nd, Special Envoy ran well. 3rd, then, a very weary Kasbah Bliss, followed home by Blazing Bailey, who made that serious mistake. Crystal Dane and Chief Dan George brings up the rear. Inglis Drever, the 15 to 8 favourite, has won the totesport.com long-distance hurdle for the 3rd year running, after victories in 2005 and 2006. Now ahead of the great Barracuda, who won this race on 2 occasions. Look at this jump at the last. Doesn't he try? Lovely jump there. Special Envoy not so good in 2nd. Little stumble on landing. Kasbah Bliss back in 3rd, and Blazing Bailey. Great return by the world hurdle winner.
Well, he's a smashing little horse, this. The further he goes, the better he jumps. He always just struggles early on in the races, but stamina and a little bit of speed at the end of a long grueling race are the hallmarks of this champion. This is the 3rd time, and he's emulated Barracuda now in winning this race, and as Simon said, he'll be winning a 3rd champion hurdle, God willing, come next March.
Inglis Drever won this 15 to 8 favourite a year ago, 13 to 8 on favourite 2 years ago, wins it for the 3rd time. 15 to 8 favourite, clipped in from 2 to 1. It was a 9 to 4 chance with Betfred this morning. That was before, of course, Blackjack Ketchum was taken out. The runner-up, Special Envoy, ran an absolute screamer. The 3 to 1 second favourite, receiving £8 from Inglis Drever, but outclassed by him. And 3rd, Kasbah Bliss at 5 to 1.
Well, Inglis Drever does the business for Dennis O'Regan, and Alice has caught up with him.
Dennis, this is some horse.
Yeah, it's the first time I rode him in a race, and she's I thought for a while there, so he might be in trouble, but sure, he's only getting going when you're like that. He loves it.
It's extraordinary. He seems to do that always in his races, hits a real flat spot.
Yeah, but it helps him see out the trip, you know what I mean? He's as tough as they come, and he gives you everything. He's a heart like a lion. So.
And hey, the new job's going well.
A few winners so far, and hopefully, touch wood, it keeps going like this.
Well, it makes it worthwhile, I suppose, when you ride champions like this lad.
Of course it does. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much.
And hey, tell us about character building. You ride in the big one.
Well, I went down the other morning to school him, and he jumped really well. John Quinn's a really good trainer, and he knows his stuff, and you know what I mean. So she's a horse to look forward to. I'm just delighted to get this one.
Well, listen, we're really enjoying watching you. Best of luck.
Thanks, Alice. Thank you.
Well, Howard Johnson's horse is in tremendous form at the moment, and Dennis enjoying a good spell. Let's have a look now at Blazing Bailey, who stepped at one on down the far side. Travelling well enough at this point. Richard did exactly the same thing, couldn't make his mind up, stepped, did well to stand up.